Scott Donkin is an internationally published author, chiropractor, and consultant who's been in business in Lincoln for over 30 years. He says that sitting too long or too wrong causes enormous human pain and suffering. But he says that if we shift sitting to a daily positive experience, well, that's not only a viable goal, but it's essential to our future well-being. So, get comfortable. Well, no, probably sit up straight. Sit up, everybody. I don't know, whatever. Let's find out. Please welcome Scott Donkin.
Thank you. Smoking or sitting, which is worse? Smoking this cigarette has shown to be so unhealthy for us that it's forbidden to light it in this or any other public building in Lincoln. Smoking this cigarette can shorten your life by 8 minutes. Now, sitting has been compared to smoking as the new killer among us, silent killer. Sitting for an hour can take away as much of your life as smoking the cigarette. While there are many differences between smoking and sitting, there are some striking similarities. One is that both smoking and sitting can slowly suffocate you. And I'm serious about this. Go ahead and sit up for me. Thank you. Take a nice breath in. Let it out. Good. Breathe in deeper now. And out. Great. Notice the ease at which you're able to breathe air in and out. Now slump forward for me. It's okay. Go ahead. All right. Take a breath in. Let it out. Now breathe in a little deeper. And out. Okay, you can go ahead and sit. You probably noticed that it was more difficult to breathe air in when you were slumped forward. That's because your diaphragm was blocked from pulling air into your lungs. So, thereby slowly suffocating you just like a cigarette would. Smoking and sitting are both habits. I like to think of a habit as a helpful or harmful automatic behavior increasing over time. Let me tell you the effect that habits can have on you and others. This is an old photograph. It was taken in 1942. It's of my father. He was a very gifted athlete. In fact, he mastered many sports. He was voted one of the outstanding athletes of the century in South Dakota between 1861 and 1961. He was a pilot in World War II, and he soared. He developed along the way some habits, harmful habits, smoking among them. Over the course of time, his habits slowly degenerated his life until he died prematurely at the age of 49. And contrast this with Charlie, a patient of mine. Charlie was 12 years old when my dad was 18. Charlie wasn't bestowed the physical gifts that my dad was. But he acquired habits along the way, just like we all do. He acquired helpful habits. Charlie became a long-haul truck driver. And over the course of his long career, he drove millions of miles. Today, at this day, he's 83 years old, and he drives a truck because he loves to and because he can. Now, being in practice for 30 years as a chiropractor, I've seen many truck drivers whose bodies are a wreck. The difference is the habits that they've acquired over time. Time will magnify your habits. So how do we develop the habits in the first place? I think it stems to when we were born and even before. You see, I believe that we were born brilliant. We were born with the innate brilliance to be able to eat and poop and cry and laugh and smile and coo and learn about the world around us. We can light up a room and we can sit brilliantly. We're also born vulnerable. We are totally dependent upon others for nourishment, security, protection, and to learn and grow. We learn, we absorb our environment like a sponge, and we learn by what other people say and what they do. We adopt it as our own because that becomes our belief system. When sitting, years ago, generations ago, when we began to sit, we didn't live as long, and then we didn't sit as much. So sloppy sitting was okay. Now we live much longer and sit much more. In fact, for someone living a long life, you can sit for as long as 32 years. How you do it has a pivotal role in the quality of your health. So keep in mind, since we have this system of believing about sitting, we need to change now. We have to keep in mind what Albert Einstein said. He said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. We have to think differently in order to solve the problem we have at hand. This reminds me of another patient. His name, we'll call him Dave. Dave had been coming in for treatment for his lower back, and he was getting good results, and he was preparing for a trip with his family and friends to Canada. He was very excited about going to Canada, but he wasn't very excited about the fact that he usually had an episode of low back pain when he went on this trip because of sitting in the boat on the lake fishing. And I said, Dave, do you want to change that outcome? And he said, sure. I said, well, you have to change two things. You have to change the way you think about sitting, and then you have to change the way you sit. I think if you can do those two things, you can change your outcome. So we went through some things that we're going to go through today. He came back after his trip, and he was thrilled to tell me that he really enjoyed the whole trip, even the time on the lake with the boat, and thoroughly enjoyed fishing that day. There's a big difference between the way we sit now and the way we need to sit in the future. So, anybody want to change their life today? Yeah, okay, good. We'll change the way we sit. So, Jan? Okay, thank you. Our bodies were designed brilliantly. We were designed to work with gravity, not against it. Our body has a natural curve in the low back going inward, a natural counterbalancing curve in the mid-back, and then again a curve forward in the neck. This is like a spring that helps us work with gravity. This is the ideal optimum position for both standing and sitting. Go ahead and have a seat now. Thank you. Now, if I put my hand right here, this is the curve that should be restored while you're sitting. Okay, so this is a good fit for any chair or seat that you're sitting, whether it be your car, your office chair, your kitchen chair, or your sofa. The default mechanism for sitting, though, tends to be the rocked back position, which is slumping, creating a cascade of problems that we've only touched on so far. Now, when the hip and pelvis goes vertical, this is a position that's normally called the meditator's position. It's a very delightful position, but not far enough for our seated activities. Right there, there's a lip on the bone that you're sitting on that when you cross over it, you come up and the shoulders come up over the hips, the shoulder blades come back automatically, and the head comes up. This is called the tipping point, okay? So this is mindless. This is aware. That is awake. It's an aha moment for everybody that experiences it, and it's one that is seldom forgotten. You have an opportunity from that time forward to change the way you sit, and also the outcome of your life. So go ahead and lean up. There you go. That's the tipping point. So Jan, since we've been working together, you've been helping me prepare for the TEDxLincoln event, which I really appreciate. And during that time, I've been able to share with you the principles of sitting smarter. You remarked the other day when we were here together that you have much, much less back pain and sciatica now because of applying sitting smarts.
That's right.
That's great. See, that's thrilling for me because we haven't known each other that long. I saw her apply the principles even when she didn't know I was watching. And that is an outcome that I see over and over and over and over again. People absolutely can transform their lives by changing to the tipping point. Now, one thing that people imagine right away is that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of the seats I sit in that don't fit me. So this is very important for you to get. Now, put your hands together like this, okay? Look at your thumbs. They look like a good match, don't they? But look at that gap there. If you have a gap there, then and you're sitting, your body will intuitively try to fill that gap by slumping. This is a good fit. Slide one thumb down. That is a good fit. Good match, good fit. We're so used to looking at chairs that match the environment that we don't look through them to see what a good fit is. So keep in mind, good match, good fit. Another thing to keep in mind is that a chair, no matter what chair, even this chair has just 5 dimensions. It has a height, a width, a depth, a contour, and a density. That happens to be the same dimensions that our body has. Now, if we're sitting in a chair that doesn't fit, then we're going to be deforming our bodies into that chair. And even if that's the case, whether it be a park bench or a sofa at home, you have to know the other principle, which is unwinding. Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man I like to call him the open man. This position holds in it the antidote for sitting. The shoulders and arms are in an open position, the hips and legs are open, and the head is up. This is an open position that you need to return to regularly if you're going to be able to maintain a healthy structure. From the back, the shoulder blades are together, the head is up and back, and the back is extended. It's a beautiful position, and it's in accord with the way the body is designed. You need to unwind regularly in order to have a healthy seated life. Because you see, sitting is halfway down to the fetal position. I've seen far too many people whose minds and bodies have crumbled because of the poor habits that they've acquired. You have an opportunity now to tip sitting in your favor and make this a strength instead of a weakness. You see, the cigarette isn't the killer, it's smoking that is. The seat isn't the killer, it's how you sit in it that is. You have an opportunity to make sitting a harmful habit or a helpful habit. It's up to you. It's that simple to start. This is a picture of my son, sitting brilliantly. We were all there once. Are you there now? If you are, great. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're not, work to restore your brilliance. Do 4 things. Tip sitting in your favor. Use the tipping point. Unwind regularly. Breathe deeply and often. Look through the good matches that you see into a good fit. It's that important. It's pivotal in your life and the lives of those around you. So my challenge to you is, do this. It's up to you, and you can. Sit smarter, not harder. Thank you.